Hey there, it's Andrea. Okay, so this is specifically for projectors to share an aha that I had around energy. I think it's one aha, maybe two, um, around around energy in general. But I had these big. Now they seem so obvious, and once they've been proven in practice and experiment, then it makes sense. But I had these two different examples happen about 2 years in, a year and a half, 2 years into my human design trip. So I had, and mostly this applies like to my home life, but it turns out that there was also an application, like an incident that happened, or something that came up with people that I was also coaching, two people specifically, and so the reason why this question has come up is I have a friend who is also a projector who has a child who is very busy for whatever diagnosis reason. She's busy, she's super busy, and has had trouble with classroom settings prior to this year it sounds like they're doing a lot better in terms of who they've aligned with. She actually moved to get to a better services area, a better school district. Anyway, what she was saying right before school started was that she was like having feelings of, I think she even said guilt around that her child was going to be like energy sucking the room, away from other kids, and disrupting other kids' experiences and stuff. And how was a teacher going to be able to manage that when there's so many other kids in the room, and she has four children, and this is her oldest, and that she already feels like she was already feeling anxiety around that, that somehow she personally really would be sort of responsible for disruption in this classroom. And what occurred to me was two things. One is the teacher, if it's a really good teacher, now teachers vary broadly. I mean, they vary broadly. And it sounds like the people that are in this particular school have the capacity for whatever is being brought to them, and they're addressing all of everyone's needs, and setting boundaries, and making setting expectations and all that stuff. It sounds like it's a really good setup. But also, teachers that are really meant for a diverse classroom are they they're ready for this. They have what do I want to say? They have responses to things that we may or may not as parents, and it's a completely different relationship than 24/7 with your own four kids day in day out. It's just a completely different relationship. So I have always taken the opinion, this stand that it's up to the teachers to make their classrooms work. Whoever's in the classroom, whoever, doesn't matter who shows up. That's their responsibility. It's going to be a soup of people, and they're going to be all kinds of different varieties with all kinds of different personal quirks and whatever, and it's their job, and that's it. It's just their job. And so whatever resources need to happen to address that soup of children for that year is what needs to happen. So, but projector specific to this is that I had this realization that asking for help or doing work that felt, this is more specifically around asking for help, but doing work that feels like a lot of energy, effort to us, may really not be so for other types, human design types. It actually isn't the case. Like, so specifically, this is how I figured it out. Asking for help for me used to be horribly difficult, just because it felt sometimes easier to just do it myself and not have the conversation, but more about it was such a, like, I was making this big ask, it's not a big ask for generators to ask them to help you carry the trash out. It's not a big ask for generators to do all kinds of things that for me are like this big inertia issue, or this, I know I'm going to be so tired. Why would I put that on somebody else? Is kind of where my head was at. It turns out that it's not that way at all. I have 2 generator daughters, a generator husband, and then there's me and my youngest is also a projector. And once I started letting those roles sort of play out and not have any feeling around I should be doing equal work, or I should be, pulling my own weight, or whatever the programming is inside of us for that stuff, or like comparing somebody else able to handle a whole classroom of kids versus me and 4 children. 4 is a lot, ma'am. 4 is a lot. I have 3, but they're way spread out, so I can't even begin to imagine having, to juggle 4 of the same-ish age range. So this is a moment in time that is, probably past diapers, the diaper toddler range of time. Now these kids are 13 to 9 or so. It's only going to get easier from here on out, for one thing. And again, regardless of the personalities at play. So that's the aha that I had around this. Now, so now what I am able to do, like, I have help all the time from my kids, because even the projector, because I'm clear on how much I'm actually asking by comparison to how it feels to me. That there is not necessarily an exact trade there, So I have an emotional generator daughter. She is the little engine that could with anything physical that I need to do around the house, anything physical. So I need something carried. She's on it. She's on it, and this relates to the second part of let me backtrack just a tiny bit. So I ask the projector son, who also, he's 11, so he's also kind of like borderline, does he even want to help at all? So say it's just me and him. I'll take out the trash, but I can call him now. Hey, while I'm doing this, can you put a bag in the trash can? Versus I used to do it all. I used to do it all because it felt like such a big request. And so once I've broken it down, or I say, I'm going to carry the bag, can someone else come and grab all of the recycling? And so that sort of thing, to me anyway, was new with human design. Before that, it was like I would just do it all because it was this big freaking ask. And it isn't this big freaking ask. So, but related to that, I found inside of my business space of the people that I was coaching, consulting with, I found another example of generator frustration, basically, around work. So I was doing sort of the same thing in my groups. I would post something, or I would see somebody with a question, and then I was doing all the work. I was answering all the questions. I was the one always showing up. I was fast too, which didn't help them. But I I'd have 20 people in the group, but I was having individual conversations with each one. They weren't having the chance really to interact with each other. Now, I had sort of mixed feelings about this, because I feel like I shouldn't have to slow down for other people to feel well about things. But one thing that I did come clear on, and these 2 people actually aren't in my circle anymore because of this thing. So I really needed people to step up and be answering questions and be, proactively engaged in things. And I said something to one of them, and they said something like, well, I don't feel like there's any work for, any reason for me to be in there, because you're always on it. You're always on the job. You're always answer the questions. There's no room for me to be the expert to kind of that flavor thing. And so what I realized was that they're both generators. What I realized was that they were frustrated and therefore not feeling satisfied. That's the two possibilities for generators. That the work was being done. The work was already being accomplished. Like they didn't see any room for them to be also working, which was completely untrue, because all they had to do was show up as themselves and do the do. But that was the story that was in their head, was that somebody else, and this comes up a lot too, like when you're making videos or when you're making content, somebody, 5,000 other people have already made this content. Why would anybody listen to me? Why should I bother to take the time to show up on that topic, in that conversation, and whatever? And what they missed out on is the possibility of being front of mind with an audience that had paid to be there, because these are all paid groups we're talking about. So that and be recognized as become synonymous in other people's minds with, this person is tuned in, this person is present, this person knows their stuff, this person is somebody I could ask a question of privately. This is, they just totally missed the opportunity. They didn't take the opportunity when it was there. And I think it's really common of people, and it could be because 70% of the world is generators, that they are discouraged when they think the work has already been accomplished. And it's never done. And people want to hear, even if it's, what I've found to be true over the years is the simplest of things, people want to hear it from the people they want to hear it from. They don't want to go searching for it, number one, the answer. And number two, they once they know and like and trust you, having you and in your process, and you're not going to waste their time, and or you're going to have a funny joke in the middle because that's what you do, or you're going to be straightforward, or you're going to whatever. Your style suits the people that it suits, and that consistency of delivery of information, people seek it out. They seek it out. Once you have gotten somebody's attention in that way, you are so far ahead of the game than whoever they might find on YouTube who's an unknown. Even if they give them exactly the same information, you have to deliver it because they want it from you. So I think that was like this missing component to me, like that people would be frustrated, which I didn't know before. So these conversations happened before I met Human Design. And I really had this like big aha for these two people in particular who were just sort of hanging around, basically waiting for the work to show up when the work was plenty, the work was abundant, and I wasn't asking for help because to me it seemed like, so I probably missed an opportunity too. I did at one point ask for like sort of room monitors right after that, and one of them did choose to do that. But again, I think there's lots of work to be done, and there is no competition in that way as long as you show up. So it's got a little longer than I expected, but those are the two different, this is how I've come to, since Human Design, how energy and asking for help and how other people manage their energy. Also, it's all not my business, It's not my business, and you just have to instead of so for the mom, my friend, you kind of have to just go forth and see. I mean, you already know this. I'm preaching to the choir and stuff, but all of that stuff that lets us be like fearful and worried and la la la, all that stuff. If you go in with that energy, which she didn't, luckily. I mean, I'm really glad that she didn't. when you approach things with that kind of I know how it's going to turn outness, sometimes it's really that's how it turns out, because that's how you approach, that's how you go in. So encourage you to stay open to the possibilities, and let people be themselves and be yourself so that they can see who you are too. And yeah, those are some big ahas around energy and me being a projector that have been huge in this funny human design journey. All right, that's enough. I'll catch you later. Have a great day.